Well, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today, I wanted to talk about the channel, where we've been and where we're going. 3.16 is just around the corner. As you can see here, Grinding Gear Games today sort of just reiterated the things that we learned at the end of last week about the upcoming plans and gave just tiny little tidbits about the timeline. The key thing is that there'll be a lot more information starting from later this week. So that's when we're going to start getting a little bit more information, and that'll have firm dates for when the expansion's coming out and also for all the other information that you're waiting for. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, I'm going to reflect on an interesting journey and give you a sense of where I'm planning to take the channel in the future. So, in the last quarter of 2020, I started to realize that the channel's average months were making enough money for me to pay my rent. Now, that's a share house in a cheap suburb. That's not paying bills or food or anything like that. And also I recognized there was a good history of sustained growth. Additionally, the worldwide pandemic meant that I had all the overtime I wanted. I was in the one section of the aviation industry that wasn't going quiet at all at that time. That was lease transitions. And so I was able to save a good deal of money. And it got me thinking, can I do content creation full time? So I started doing a bit of due diligence on this question. Now, I clearly wasn't making enough money to live off. I was fine with a pay cut to do something I like rather than working a 9 to 5 I was sick of, but I still needed about 2/3 of minimum wage to get by on, and I was making about 17% of minimum wage last year from the channel. But I did have a lot of saved up annual leave and long service leave after 8 years in my 9 to 5, enough savings to take a risk and a lot of accumulated burnout at my job and with the aviation industry in general. So last Christmas, I made a decision which I didn't talk about to anyone. I gave myself 3 months to change my mind, and if I didn't change my mind during that period, then I was going to throw myself into content creation full time. Spoiler, I didn't change my mind. So I announced it to my real life friends on Facebook, but because I chose to do this on April 1st, no one, and I was really sketchy on the details, no one actually believed me. Funny that. So I don't talk about Path of Exile to non-Path of Exile players, and so almost without exception, my real life friends don't know that I have a YouTube channel. I'm still waiting for the first time I'm recognized out of context and a non-gaming friend is with me, because that's going to be hilarious. But for tax reasons, I put off leaving my old job until the new financial year, which over in Australia, that's July. And I took it really easy for a while because I needed to break. And also, I still had 17 weeks of accumulated leave, so my old job is essentially still paying me until the start of November. So while I made no waves about it at the time though, I've been doing the channel as my sole work for the past 12 weeks, and I plan to continue that. It's been part-time, as in less than 38 hours work a week so far, but I think that'll change a bit as we hopefully start to leave the pandemic behind. So I've taken some time to learn some basic audio editing, learning some basics of DaVinci Resolve, and to put more effort into YouTube thumbnails, which are the bane of a YouTuber's existence. So what changes can you expect? So firstly, I am using my website a bit more. This is just www.surgog.com, and it's basically a supplement to the YouTube channel and a dumping ground for notes on videos. I'm not suggesting bookmarking it or anything, just giving you a bit of a heads up that it exists. It's a very bare bones WordPress blog that's on a super budget friendly hosting plan, but it does seem to meet all of the needs I've got for it. I'm not intending to have forums or anything due to spam issues. I have tried having comments on and it was a disaster. I'd get every time that one of my posts got shared on Reddit, I would get spammed with literally 500 plus junk comments. So for that reason, it's not going to be interactive. It's one-way communication. It's basic, but the site does what I need it to do, provide a way to host small files that accompany videos. Secondly, I have been streaming a lot more over at Twitch, at twitch.tv/Surgog. I still regard this as a learning experience at the moment for me. Streaming is intensely distracting, and it blows my mind that you've got people like Steelmage, Zizarin, DS Lily, Tai Killer, just to name a few of them, that can play at such a high level while streaming. All of them can play at a higher level than I can when I'm at my best, but they're doing so with all the distractions of streaming. That said, expect to see me streaming more in the future, though my plans are to, in the medium term, be a YouTuber focused on recorded content first and a streamer secondarily. While I'm learning the ropes though, expect to see a lot of deaths, a lot of play mistakes, and just have a bit of a chance to have a laugh at my expense there. Third, I have had a lot of feedback about the camera issues. I want to fix it. The underlying issue is actually not the camera hardware itself. That's perfectly up to the task. It maybe isn't professional quality, but it's certainly good enough, and it's not the cause of how washed out and weird I look in them. The problem is actually harder to solve than that, because if that's all it was, I would have solved it by now. The problem is twofold. It's room lighting and it's space. Because of space, I have to operate with the overhead light off and using a lamp, and that is behind me in front of the camera, which is in a terrible place. There's nowhere else for it in the room. What I need is ring lights behind my monitor. This can't be done with my current desk and my current room. So there's no short-term solution in sight, unfortunately. I'd planned to move house during the middle of 3.15, but we had a severe COVID outbreak in my city, and as a result, a lot of stuff shut down at the moment, and it's not really doable at present. I'm hoping that late November I'll be able to do this, but this is not a promise. However, fourth, and this one's the big one, I am setting up YouTube channel memberships. So YouTube channel memberships is essentially YouTube's competing product to Patreon or Twitch subscriptions. It's a monthly subscription that grants a few extra perks and that I get most of the money from. If any of you work at YouTube, please, 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 please add the ability for content creators to customize these channel memberships to have the ability to add ad-free viewing for channel members in it as a perk. That's not currently available the way that it is on Twitch, and it would be a great thing to have. But that's it. The primary reason I'm doing this is that at my scale, content creation is basically AdSense revenue, i.e. ads from Google and YouTube, plus sponsorships, plus essentially what is busking. To be a livable income, I estimate that ad revenue requires you to be getting about 70,000 watch hours per month. That's 70,000 watch hours. Less if you use the most intrusive ad settings, but I don't do that. I'm getting 30% of that level of watch time. And at my size, the sorts of products that are willing to do a sponsorship are ones I'm not willing to work with. So stop asking pay-to-cheat gold-selling sites, and stop asking pay-to-cheat mobile games. I'm not interested in doing any deals with you. That said, there are more reputable places I would consider a sponsorship from, but I'm just a bit too small for them to consider at the moment. Places like Displate, for instance, that have a genuinely good product that I'd be happy to make some sort of deal with. So that said, to help with the sort of busking side of content creation, I'm setting up memberships as a way that you can help, support what I do here. Membership tiers are priced at 4, 8 or 20 Australian dollars a month, or whatever Google thinks is a fair equivalent to that in your country. A large majority of this goes to me. All tiers will get access to emotes and badges. These are cosmetic only and really only matter when I'm doing a stream or premiere on YouTube. Members can emote toucans, varlorbs, and things like that. Also, as many of you know, I have a maths background, so there's also a Mandelbrot set emote. The $8 and up tiers will sometimes get early access to videos. This won't be every video that I create. It'll mostly be limited to videos that I think will have some sort of lasting appeal beyond the first day they come out, and that also are targeted at my existing audience. So for example, in the last month, some of you may have watched the Abyss stacking video. This would have been early access because it's still relevant a week later. On the flip side, the Minotaur guide would not have been. That's because it's mostly aimed at people who are searching on Google rather than at my existing subscriber base, who I think are probably pretty much mostly confident with the Minotaur fight already. And also the 3.16 first info video from the other day wouldn't, because it's timely. Things like the Endgame Unique series will be the sort of things that will be included in the early access side of things. The $20 a month tier will have priority replying to comments and access to monthly members-only live streams, which should be much more of a chatty atmosphere. I think more phone call than Twitch meetup. So that's something that I'll get sorted out if there's any interest in that. I didn't want to set up a firm paywall on anything, so I don't plan any member exclusive videos. There's also a fourth $50 a month tier that has no extra perks. Obviously don't sign up for this unless you're making like $250,000 a year or so. But if you are, I'm happily going to take some of your money if you're willing to give it to me. But basically only if you've got some sort of ridiculously good job. Fifth, I have looked into channel merchandise. For every market leader in content creation merch stores, I've either done a trial order with them and been underwhelmed with their products, or I've read bad reviews. I found a couple of places that do custom printing that I think have good products and price, but I need to solve a lot of e-commerce issues along those lines. I've never done any sort of e-commerce beyond, selling Magic the Gathering cards on eBay in the 20 noughties, and everything has changed since then. So the jacket that I'm wearing now is actually a prototype, although unfortunately these jackets wouldn't be cheap. They'd probably be in the USD 58 to 63 range. T-shirts, though, I can do a lot cheaper. Likely if it's my own artwork, they'd be USD 19 or so. And if they're someone else's artwork, then I'd negotiate a commission with them, but expect something like 24 US or so. I'm also looking into other prototypes as well, but that's something that I've definitely got on my mind. Sixth and finally, I have set up a Discord. For security reasons, I'd rather not post a permanent link in this channel, on this video, but I will occasionally post it to my YouTube community channel, however. So if you watch my videos at least semi-regularly, you should see it there. Anyways, that's all I've got at the moment on this. If you've got comments or questions, definitely fire away below. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlobs have interesting results. And if you're in a position that you want to support what I do, then feel free to sign up to the YouTube channel memberships. There should be a button underneath the video called Join.